Hello everyone. Today you'll be joining me on my challenge to draw every day for 30 days. Oh my god, dude. So I guess to start, a little background on me. I'd consider myself a beginner at art, so I drew as a child like everyone else. I would consider myself a pretty creative person, and I did actually dabble in a bit of animation a while ago. However, that was just drawing stick figures, so I'm not really sure I'd count that as drawing, if you know what I mean. Drawing is always something that I've wanted to do, but I thought it was just too much of a commitment, so I've never even bothered to try. But of course, I was on holiday with my friends and we made a bet. I draw every day if you practice piano every day. And that's how this video came about. Anyways, you're watching day one here. Initially, I wanted to draw everything in pen. This was just because I wanted to practice being deliberate and precise. And because as an animator, Control Z was something that I really relied on. And it would just make things take way longer than it needed to. Going into how I actually felt about the drawing, I think it's best to just show you what I said at the time. Just finished day one here. Wasn't the most fun to do. Just a lot of worrying about the result and how it would turn out. But hopefully it gets better. So obviously this is a pretty concerning comment. I've just started this 30-day challenge doing something I've always wanted to do, and I say I didn't even enjoy it. I'm actually going to leave this for now, and I'll get back to this a little later. So the format for this challenge, I wanted to do a full picture roughly once a week, and in between I'd just be doing various practice. For the first week is pretty mundane. The first few days I just followed this website called Drawbox, and I'm just doing various exercises every day. Anyways, day 5 here, I decided it's time to start something apart from the basics because I do have a drawing due in 3 days. Day 6, I decided to follow some tutorials on drawing heads. The Loomis method is what I used, which I stopped using very quickly because it was very hard. Anyways, for day 7, there is no day 7. I skipped this day, so we're jumping straight into the full drawing. For my second drawing, I wanted to draw something by Tatsuki Fujimoto, most famous for trying to levitate. And pretending to be a 3rd grader on Twitter. And also Chainsaw Man. So my goal to draw in pen was quickly dashed this day. I realized that if I wanted to make good drawings, it just wasn't feasible to do it in one go like you would have to with a pen. So to bring back what I was talking about on day 1 about not enjoying the process, I had a pretty big think about it, and I think it was mostly due to my fears of expectations. Because as a kid, it doesn't matter what you draw, it's going to go on the fridge. But as an adult or even a teenager, I just felt people would see your drawings for what they are, and I was kind of worried about drawing something like that Sasuke meme and getting roasted for it. Another worry I had was starting so late, which is ridiculous to say because I'm not even old, and I've had this same line of thinking since I was probably 16. And this is just because I knew people the same age or younger who had been drawing since they came out the womb. I thought it was just too late for me, which is obviously not the case. Going into the challenge, I still had all these worries. I just kind of decided it was time to do something I wanted regardless of them. And doing it as a challenge like this kind of actually helped a lot in committing to it. So here is the completed power drawing. Apart from the face, which is, the face is quite a dastardly sight. Something I definitely needed to work on. I quite enjoyed drawing the clothes. This is actually the 2nd time ever I have drawn clothes. The first was a week ago. To draw something like this, I was quite proud of it. And that's a huge step up from week 1, where I was sitting there, anxiety in my stomach, didn't even want to finish the drawing. This is a huge improvement in both drawing and attitude, I think. But here at least I can see where I need to work on, and that's faces. So I start doing some tutorials from Chom Mang. No, I did not copy PewDiePie, okay. Again, it's using the Loomis method, which I'm not really a fan of. Obviously, it's good because everyone uses it. Also, I tried drawing Power's face again, and please don't laugh. It's terrible, I know. The next day, I actually find another YouTuber and I follow his tutorials, and they were really good. I kind of gelled with the tutorial a lot more. These faces, they're a little long and they don't look like the tutorials faces at all, but I was still happy with them. So day 11, I followed another tutorial up here, and then I just tried drawing a reference photo. I'm sure you could guess who that is. Day 12, I actually feel like my art's getting worse. And day 13, I didn't even want to draw like at all. Like motivation was pretty low. Day 14, it's time for some men because guess what I'm going to be drawing on the next day. Day 15, I'm drawing Hawks from My Hero Academia. You know, I've always liked his character design, specifically his eyes or his face. This one had the added challenge of drawing the wings, and I actually enjoyed drawing the wings. The wings were pretty fun. So this is the completed Hawks drawing. Again, I quite enjoyed drawing the clothes because I think I'm pretty good at it, or at least like being able to, you know, copy what I see, which adds a lot to my enjoyment of it. This drawing took about 2 hours actually, which is a pretty absurd amount of time. For reference, the first drawing was 45 minutes, the power drawing was about an hour, and my practice every day has been around 30 minutes, less sometimes. So on day 16, I was pretty worn out actually after that 2-hour session, so I just followed like a YouTube short. I didn't even know what character I was drawing until about halfway through the short. On day 17, I decided I needed something to get my motivation back, so I enacted the plan of just drawing characters I liked from manga that I had read, and I was quite happy with both of these, and I quite enjoyed drawing both of them. The one on the right, you know, it's a little quirky looking, but I think it's quite charming in its own way, so I was happy with it. Day 18, I drew another one of Fujimoto's works. You might recognize him, and then I also drew a little lady there. Day 19, it was a pretty rough start, but I think I recovered well with the second drawing. Moving on to day 20, I started drawing some anatomy. This is because I had some pretty big plans for my next 2 main drawings. Day 21, there is no day 21, I skipped that. And day 22, I continue my anatomy practice. Day 23 here, it's time to put it into action, my anatomy practice. And so I'm tackling a bit of a dynamic or action shot, I guess you'd call it. This guy I'm drawing is Shido. I think he had a really cool character design and I really wanted to draw him. With the drawing, I actually spent about half the time just drawing his face over and over, and the end result, I'm still like, I'll just be honest, I'm really unhappy with it. I really don't like the face I drew on this. The body, I think it's pretty decent. So yeah, I know I've been drawing faces for a while now, but this drawing really set in stone that faces is something that I desperately need to improve on. So that's exactly what I do. I go into day 24 and I draw some anatomy. I have no idea why I did anatomy this day. I just think I wasn't thinking properly. Day 25 is a pretty good day for me because I feel like I've been drawing some pretty poor faces recently, and I was happy with both of these drawings I drew here. And this really like made my motivation, you know, soar through the roof. And the next day, because usually I draw at night, but I actually woke up for day 26 and I was just so excited to draw. And this actually worked against me a little bit because I feel like day 26 is one of my poorer performances, and that really hurt motivation. You know, that was the most motivated I had been so far, and I feel like this was one of my worst days by far. This is also the time when PewDiePie's 100-day video dropped at day 25. Funnily enough, this video wasn't inspired by PewDiePie, and I actually saw his video get recommended to me when my algorithm changed to drawing content. And in a way, that kind of, you know, a little parasocial, but that kind of made me feel like he was a direct competitor to what I was doing here. And to see his progress in 100 days versus what I just did on day 26, it really hurt, and I was feeling pretty low about it. Day 27, I tried to bounce back. I mean, just look at some of these drawings. Like, I don't really know what's happening to my drawings. I'm not rushing them or anything, but they just seem to be turning out so much worse than what I was drawing. Day 28, I kind of pinpointed eyes as my weak spot for drawing faces, especially in anime drawings where the eye is such a focal point. Day 29, I really wanted to get some confidence back because this is the last practice session I'll be having. I decided to draw them a little bigger because I thought maybe I just wasn't able to fit enough detail in smaller drawings. Top one ended up a bit of a soulless husk, but the bottom one was okay, I think. So the promised day is here. It's day 30, the challenge is ending today. I'm going to be honest, with how I was feeling the few days before, I don't even know if the video would have came out if I wasn't happy with this drawing here. So it's quite lucky that, spoiler alert, it ended up being something I was quite proud of. With the drawing, I really focused on the face. Like, I know I needed to get it right if I wanted any chance of liking the picture. And I did it multiple times. I drew the eyes, I don't even know, like 10 different times before I just was like, okay, I finally have something acceptable. Overall, this journey has been, I mean, looking back on it now, I'd say it's pretty fun, but you know, when I'm making the video, at the start, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And then in the middle, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And then towards the end, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So where was the ups? But I think as a whole, it was such a good experience to have. And it's finally let me do something that I've wanted to do for a while. I'm actually recording this about a week out from the challenge, and I've drawn 4 more days, and that's just because I've been editing videos for the past 2 days. With the completed drawing, I can see a few mistakes, but I'm not actually going to say what they are, because hopefully, you know, the less initiated, they won't even notice, and they'll say like, oh, wow, that's such a good drawing, man, it's great work, and then, you know, I'll feel good about it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. You know, I can sit here and like try and enforce some sort of moral of the story here. You know, like, you gotta do what makes you happy, you know, you gotta overcome these fears. But you know, I'm sure everyone already has seen 100 videos with that kind of ending, so I'm just gonna leave it here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really mean it. I hope you enjoyed.